thank you to Ian for their support on Patreon.
Oh god, how fucking daunting is that? Million fucking seats, one little piano. A girl gets up from the piano, bowing to the crowd and walking out of the stage. She gets a very lukewarm reception with only a few claps here and there. Weak. Keikun has criticized every single performance that has been put out so far. I know classical tends to be boring, but I can barely stay awake right now. Hey, Ushihara, have they all been that bad? You haven't had a single good thing to say about their performances. Not bad per se, but not good either. None of them stands out. Hey, Rutherford-san, you're the only one who's seen Kobayashi perform. Do you think he's better than them? Well, none of the performances made me feel the same way June's did. When I saw him play, I felt like the music was calling to me, tugging at my heartstrings. I felt like I needed to get closer, to feel all the keys pounding with my whole body. But these kids, I don't feel anything. No rush, no excitement, nothing. I don't really know much about music, but I know that they don't really do anything for me. I think June is much better. And now for the next performer will be Shinji Akutagawa performing Franz Liszt's Rendezvous from Baba de Charlotte. The crowd starts clapping as the lion walks into the stage, donning a black suit, waving at the audience with a confident smile on his face. Of course, they'd make him go right before June. So June is going to be all fucked up, and he's going to be too scared because this guy is going to fucking nail it. That's him. How do you think his performance will go? I don't know. Hope for Kobayashi's sake that he's not that good. The lion sits down in front of the piano. The audience goes dead silent, almost by instinct. Suddenly, I feel very on edge. The few seconds of silence before he begins his performance will fill me with a sense of dread. What if he's good? What then? I feel like my heart is going to explode. If I'm like this, how must June be feeling right now? I hope he's okay. He starts performing and I instinctively hold my breath. The keys echo softly, slowly beginning to weave a slow melody. It doesn't seem as amazing as Keikun mentioned. I start feeling angry at him for June for making me feel so on edge for nothing. This is what you were afraid of. This is not... No, he's good. But this song sounds so easy. Grande Fantasy starts off really slow. It suddenly speeds up about 3 minutes. That's what'll make or break his performance. If he can do that part correctly, then... Here it comes. He suddenly speeds up his performance so much that I can barely recognize it as the same song. It's not just fast, he's oppressively fast. I feel as if I'm suddenly being pounded into submission. I instinctively hold my breath. My heart rate increases exponentially. I feel like the sheer magnitude of his performance forbids me from uttering a single word. There's so much I want to say, but my body is frozen in place and refuses to listen. The words are caught in my throat, unable to let out. It's like this. Oh, if he's this good. If it's like this, if he's this good. Shit, please don't let June be watching this performance. Please, God, don't let him be watching this. If he does, I'm pretty sure his spirit will break. He finally stops his performance. It feels as if his the enormous weight of that was pressing down on the audience is suddenly lifted as everyone breathes a collective sigh of relief. Akutagawa-kun gets up from his seat, panting heavily. His legs wobble a bit, but he makes his way to the front of the stage, bowing down to the audience. The crowd immediately erupts in cheers, giving Akutagawa-kun a standing ovation. The sound is so loud that it almost shakes the entire concert hall. His was without a doubt the best performance so far, and you can tell that from how the crowd reacts. After bowing down to the crowd, he walks out of the stage, yeah, as if there was and another beep was followed by another announcer's voice. It's gotta be June. It's gotta be June. There'll be a 15-minute interval. Okay. Yeah, okay, we're gonna have to go backstage, or June's gonna try to fucking quit. Something's gonna happen. Oh God, what's gonna happen? Audience members are advised to not to be away from their seats for more than 10 minutes as they might miss the ensuing performance. Shit. Keikun was the first to break the deathly silence that had fallen on us. When's Kobayashi-kun's performance? I swallow hard, trying to say to myself, he's next. Double shit. Yeah. How are we to follow a performance like that? I don't think he'd be able to. If you watched this, something in my heart tells me that he watched that performance, and I know he wouldn't be able to go out on stage after that. Save my seat for me. What? I get up from my seat and I run out the hall. I run to the backstage entrance. When I try to walk through the door, a ram dressed in a uniform stops me.
Excuse me, sir. Only competitors are allowed backstage.
I need to see my friend.
I'm sorry, but like I said, only competitors are allowed. Like I care!
I push him to the side, nearly knocking him against the corridor wall, and run past him.
Wait, stop!
It isn't hard at all for me to bolt past him. As soon as I'm in, I start looking for June. Where could it be? I stop dead in my tracks to see the familiar figure wearing a white suit, sitting down on the floor, his face buried in his knees, and his entire body shaking as very quiet sobs come out of him. June. I timidly reach out to him, putting a hand on his shoulder. Oh my God! Oh my God, look at this man! Look at this man! This man in a white suit! Holy shit! He looks up at me, tears streaming down his face. Rutherford-san? It takes him a while to recognize me. As soon as he does, he wipes his tears away with the cuff of his suit. What are you doing here?
Hey!
The employee I knocked aside barged my way. When I barged my way into the backstage area, he comes to us looking furious.
You kid, come back here!
Shit. He grabs my arm and starts pulling me away from June. No, wait, I need to stay here.
I don't give a flying rat's ass. I'm kicking you out of...
Wait. June calls out to the man holding me. He stops and looks back. I'm a competitor. Aren't I allowed by the rules to have someone with me for support? June gets up from the floor, staring down at the employee, which is quite a feat, considering the man is taller than even me.
But that's usually reserved for family, and you to declare them beforehand.
I understand, but my parents couldn't attend today due to personal reasons. So I asked my friends to come with me. I'm sorry, but could you please let him stay?
What, this kid nearly threw me against the wall trying to bust his way in. You asked me to let that slide?
I'm deeply sorry. June bows, his face going so low I'm afraid he'll just keep going and will hit the floor. Wait, June, you don't have to apologize for my... I'm so sorry. He was just worried about me. He didn't know what he was doing. I'll take full responsibility for his actions. June... Thram looks from me towards June, who is still bowing. His expression seems to have softened a bit, but he still looks very angry. I'll get on my knees and beg if you want me to. What? No, June, that's going too far. I should be the one apologizing.
There's no need.
Thram lets go of my hand, his eyes fixed on June.
Lift your head, kid. If it's that important to you, I'll let your friend stay. I won't report this, otherwise you could end up being penalized due to him.
June strains himself back up, smiling at the employee. Thank you, sir. He nods.
Don't mention it. And you!
He turns to look at me, and a sharp, angry look flashes again in his eyes.
Behave! And thank your lucky stars no one else was here to see this, or you could have hurt your friend's chances.
He turns around and walks away, turning at the corridor and disappearing from our sight. June lets out a sigh of relief as he leans his back against the wall and slumps back down to the ground. June, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to... I know. What are you doing here, Rutherford-san? I came to check up on you. I was worried. Thought so. He hugs his knees, resting his chin on them and looking straight ahead. Akutagawa-kun was something else. After I saw his performance, I just felt like it was impossible for me to beat him. So it's just like I thought. He really did watch that performance, and it really did crush his spirit. I sit down next to June, as close as I can without actually touching him. He seems to hold his breath for a second, unsure of what I'm doing. Then he relaxes. I'm sorry to have worried you. It's okay. It's what friends are for. What about now? How do you feel? His body starts shaking again. I shouldn't have come here. This was a mistake. I should have just stayed out of the competitions. I shift my body and kneel next to him, reaching out my hand to touch his face. June freezes, looking at me with like a deer in the headlights. I wipe away the tears that are beginning with my right hand, caressing his cheek as I do so. That's not true, June. You've been practicing day and night for this. You're more than ready. No, I can't play. His voice sounded so distant and lonely. There has to be a way for me to console him. So we're gonna hug them. Hug the man. Hug the man! Look at this man right here. Look at this man. Before I even have time to properly think about it, I wrap my arms around June, pulling him close to me and placing his head on my chest. What are you... Rutherford-san? It's okay. I start stroking the back of his head, doing my best to sound warm and welcoming. Soon enough, the dam bursts. June clings tightly to my shirt and buries his head in my chest, sobbing. I hold him there for what feels like many minutes, waiting for him to calm down. Little by little, his sobs become quieter and less numerous. When it seems that his sobbing has finally died down, I speak up. Why do you think you can't play? June pulls away from me, looking down at the floor. Once again, I wipe tears from his face and smile at him. My hands, they feel cold. I realize that his hands are still shaking. I grab hold of his hands and give it a squeeze. You mean this hand? He pulls his hand away from me, looking down at the floor and nodding. They feel so cold I can barely move them. I don't know what to do. I can't play like this. His voice is small and sad. I'm afraid he might start crying again at any second. He's so nervous that his hands and feet are feeling cold. I remember I used to feel the same when I had just started playing competitively. June, give me your hand. Even when stressed, he diligently does what I ask of him. I grab his wrists and put both of his hands together, palm against palm. Then I wrap my hands around his. What? I gently pull his hands towards me and exhale on them. Rutherford-son, what are you doing? I look him in the eye, making sure to give him the gentlest, warmest smile I can. I'm warming your hands up so you can play. I know his hands aren't actually cold, but I'm just hoping I can somehow get him past whatever block has him like this. I've managed to defuse his last panic attack. I won't be giving up on this with this one. Hey, June-kun, don't you think this is alright? I speak in a soft voice. My use of the honorific seems to have caught his attention. I caress the back of his hand with my thumbs, trying to seem as encouraging as I can. You've been working your hardest so far, wanting to show everyone your performance. A performance only you can make. Isn't that true? A performance only I can make? I nod slowly. I don't understand much about music myself, but shouldn't your music get your feelings across? Then why don't you, instead of worrying about getting a perfect performance, just try to show everyone how you feel? I loved watching that first performance of yours. I know I've seen you perform once or twice after that, but that one really struck a chord with me. I felt as if your song was calling out to me. It was warm and gentle and passionate. I'm sure you weren't trying to show people how good your skills were. You were just happy to play and wanted to pour your feelings into the piano. So, why can't you do that again? If I did that, I wouldn't be able to win. I shake my head in negative. I don't believe that for even a second. No one in this hall has managed to touch me in the way that your playing did, June. I believe in you. No matter what you do, I'm sure you'll be doing your best. So isn't this alright? Can't you just play how you want to play? I don't know how these competitions are judged, but wouldn't it be better if you put out the best performance you can, instead of just worrying about getting everything completely perfect? June stares at me, his fur is matted with his tears and his eyes are red, but he looks calm. I hold his hands a little bit tighter, trying to encourage him any way I can. June nods. I'll try to put my feelings into my music. Hopefully. He doesn't finish his sentence, but I already know he can do it. As long as he can stay calm, there's no reason he wouldn't be able to.
June Kobayashi!
The worker from before peeks his head through the hallway, calling out June's name. June pulls away from me and immediately gets up. Yes?
The interval's about to end. You have 2 minutes.
All right. June nods, suddenly full of energy. The ram smiles and walks away. All right, Rutherford-son, I'm going now. Please watch over my performance. Right, I have to hurry back to my seat then. I'll see you later. See you later. I turn to walk away. Oh, and one more thing. What is it? Thank you. Caught by surprise, I don't react for a few seconds. Then I nod and start running back to my seat. By the time I reach my seat, June is already halfway to the piano. Where the hell were you? Shuichi leans up to me, frowning. I went to see June. What? Why would you... Shh! Everyone shushes us from behind. Shuichi glares at me and leans back into his own seat. June sits in front of the piano, putting one of his hands on his knee and the other on his chest. He seems to be holding something. A pendant? Even I have good eyesight. I can barely make it out. After what seems to be a full minute, he finally adjusts himself on his seat and places his hands on the keys. The song starts very slow. June plays the initial keys with only one hand. The few whispers that could be heard from the audience seem to have died down in the instant he started to play. Even though his movement seems to be tense and robotic, the melody comes out easily and is pleasing to hear. As he continues to play, June seems to relax. He starts swaying back and forth to the rhythms of the melody. His tail begins to move slowly in the air. He's definitely getting into it. Looking to the side, I see Keikun tapping his feet to the sound of the music. Saya looks for the first time to be like she's completely awake and not about to doze off. Shuichi's lips are curved in a proud smile as if he were a dad watching his son's first ball game. Here it comes. Keikun murmurs just as the song seems to slow down to a halt. Then, the song immediately picks up the pace, completely switching gears and becoming insanely fast. No way. Keikun's reaction mirrors that of the entire audience. Surprise, perplexity, admiration. It is without a doubt that June is playing this song flawlessly. Even a layman like me could tell. As he continues to hammer on the keys with a practiced skill, June's entire body moves along with the melody, creating a vivid performance that fills the halls with a rich, confident sound. I feel it echoing deep inside my chest. This is the same feeling I got when I saw him playing for the first time. It takes every fiber of my self-control I have to keep myself from getting up and walking towards the stage. I want to get even closer. It's so moving that I feel like I could cry. With the performance already over for the day, all that's left is to wait for the results to be posted. Jun has been pouting ever since he came out of the lobby, already changed into his regular clothes.
I already told you to cheer up. Your performance was amazing. Stop sulking.
Just telling him to cheer up isn't going to magically cheer him up, you know. The three of us have been trying to up Jun's spirits since he rejoined us. Unfortunately, results have been very mixed. Meanwhile, Saya is waiting by the notice board to see the results when they finally get posted. I just feel like I bombed it.
You didn't bomb it, I'm telling you. Your performance was amazing. There's no doubt in my mind that you'll snag second place.
But I need first place. If I don't get it, there's no chance for me to go to Germany.
I didn't know that was on the line. Gotta get them Wiener Schnitzel. I know that. I just can't tell you that you'll win because I'm not so sure. I think it'll be very close. I don't really understand much about music, but I thought Jun-kun's performance was better, didn't you?
It depends. Kobayashi didn't go with the standard interpretation, and that might not fly well with the judges. Regardless, I know that in technical terms he was number 1, but it basically comes down to whether or not the judges liked his interpretation of the song. Even if Akutagawa's performance was higher in technical skill due to his duration of the piece, Kobayashi's was faster and more refined. It comes down to the judge's personal taste, then? That doesn't sound too good. It's not. That's why everyone tends to only play the standard interpretation. You won't charm any judges with your individuality, but you'll make sure none will dislike you much that they fail you. I didn't know that. I suddenly feel very awkward for suggesting that he do that. If Jun ends up failing because of this, I'll feel incredibly guilty for a long time. I'm sorry, Jun. I shouldn't have suggested you play like that.
Wait, you're the one that suggested he'd do that? Of all the reckless...
Jun lifts his hand up in the air, cutting Keikun off mid-sentence. It's all right, Rutherford-san. That was good advice for me. If I had gotten fixated on playing the song perfectly instead of just playing how I wanted, I would have been crushed by my own anxiety. Playing it like that is the only reason I was able to play it at all. If they fail me for it, then so be it. What is this adorable creature? Oh god. This fucker. Before my impulses take over and force me to hug the shit out of Jun, just hug him! Hug the man! Shinji Akutagawa approaches us.
You have been looking over for almost 10 minutes.
Look on his face is both angry and scary. Even I suddenly feel like taking a step back. Jun, on the other hand, doesn't retreat. He stares back at the line with an intensity that I never thought he was capable of. Holy shit! Look at Jun's fucking face! Holy shit! It's a big lobby after all. How are you doing, Akutagawa-kun?
Honestly, of all the stupid things you could have done, why didn't you go with the standard interpretation? You basically threw in the towel the moment you did that.
It's very subtle, but I can't notice June's body shifting a little bit. But I can notice June's body shifting a little bit when he hears that. Maybe he's not as confident as he's trying to portray himself. June looks down at the floor for just a second.
At least that's what I'd like to say.
Akutagawa sighs, lifting both of his hands into the air and shrugging.
I never thought you could do that well. I thought you'd be rusty after being out of the stages for 7 years. Instead, you came back sharper than before.
Akutagawa's penetrating gaze softens considerably as he looks over at the perplexed tiger.
Congratulations, Kobayashi-kun. No matter what the judges say, you're the victor today. But I won't lose next time.
What? Oh, Pokemon Ranger Efren. Thank you for subscribing. Without even giving him time to answer, the lion turns and walks away, leaving June gaping in the spot.
Well, that was something.
That guy's weird for sure. June catches everyone by surprise when he suddenly hunches and starts laughing loudly.
What the?
Sorry. He takes a few seconds to calm himself, wiping away a small tear from his left eye. How can he laugh so carefree like that? Akutagawa-kun really hasn't changed at all. He was already pretty blunt about stuff like that.
You're telling me he's always like that?
June nods. Akutagawa-kun is very demanding of himself. He's always quick to praise people when he thinks they deserve it, and always admits his own shortcomings when he thinks they exist. He always admits defeat if he thinks that he's been defeated. Even if the judges give him first place, he'll still consider himself the loser. That's the kind of pianist he is.
Talk about a serious attitude.
It's what you'd expect from someone who's aiming for the pros. He doesn't have time to make excuses for himself. He just takes in everything that he can and moves on.
I guess we could all stand to learn a few things from that guy, then.
Guys!
Saya comes running towards us, yelling so loudly that everyone in earshot turns to look at the source of the sudden noise.
The results!
How did it go? What were the... Saya is hunching over, her hands on her knees, panting and gasping desperately for air.
First place! Yes! Yes! Yes!
I don't care that my arm fat wiggled when I did that. I'll feel bad about it later.
Really? June immediately latches onto her, grabbing her arms with both of his hands and looking her in the eye. Saya swallows and nods empathetically. You got first place! June stares at her wide-eyed. His hand starts to shake and he stumbles backwards, collapsing on a nearby bench. Big droplets start welling up in his eyes. He pulls out a pendant from his pocket and holds it tightly in his hands, touching it to his forehead. Thank God! He then starts sobbing uncontrollably. Oh, you can't just fucking end the emotions right there. Come on! Let the scene breathe, damn it! Oh, and we gotta leave on an ellipses? That's what I get? That's what I get for my struggle? For my time? Fine, you know what? Just because of that, we're stopping now. That's it. I'm fucking done. Thank you all very much for watching this episode of Tennis Ace. Until then, next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Deckerlink, the trained unprofessional. Thank you all very much for joining me, but until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I've been the trained unprofessional. So repeating myself when I say, I'm the trained unprofessional. Until next time, fare thee well. Bye, everyone.